All right, so welcome back here to Gamescom 2013. Again, I'm Corey Dunn. I'm joined here by Patrick Bach.
Hi,
it's a pleasure to have the chance to be able to sit down and actually, or I guess we're not really sitting down anymore. Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you nonetheless. You know, one of the things that I have to say right out of the gate, though, is the DICE, the EA crew, since we've been here when we were at E3, also here at Gamescom, it's been an absolute pleasure just seeing how passionate you truly are about your game. I just want to go ahead and state that right out of the gate because I haven't had the chance to say anything like that.
No, it's true. You know, we have an extremely talented team. We have extremely passionate and dedicated people. And again, you know, to the team back home, you're amazing. To your point, everything is working great. People seem to love the game. And, you know, we have an amazing team. That's it.
One of the craziest things, I didn't think you could really top what you were doing at E3, having 64 players play there, also having 2 commanders there at E3. Here at Gamescom, we've got 2 different sessions going on at the same time. 64 players here with 2 commanders playing Conquest. Over on the other side, we've got 32 versus 16 v 16, so 2 sets of 32 on the other side playing Obliteration. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and ask you right out of the gate with the commander mode, where can we see it? Because we're seeing it here with Conquest.
Yeah.
Are we going to? What other game modes can we see it in?
We're also using, you know, commander mode is of course a very strategic layer on top of the game, and we don't want to put it everywhere. You won't see it in Team Deathmatch, for instance, but you will have it in Rush, and you will have it in Obliteration, and of course in Conquest, because that's where it makes most tactical sense.
Right. That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to is getting the chance to being able to hop on my tablet and having the accessibility to tell my crew exactly where they need to go, especially in a game mode like Obliteration. It just makes it, to me, if it wasn't in Obliteration, we may have an issue between you and I.
It's in there. It's in there.
So just kind of, again, the community is, you know, since E3, going into Gamescom, it's really started to get very granular and asking some really difficult questions, which is great. Again, and one of the things that I had mentioned to Lars, as well as I mentioned to you as well, and also Daniel Matros will be here on as well, is the community is very knowledgeable. You know, they know every little aspect of the game that goes into it. Talking about the whenever you brought up the creative aspect of having weather dynamics. People started to ask some really crazy questions. Does the sun move? Does the waves make an impact on any of the shots that are, any bullets that go through the water? Which Lars tried to answer that. Now, I don't know if you know about this. He tried to answer it saying that it reduces the bullets. Now, can you answer this one for me?
I don't think that the bullets will probably stop with the water. We could do bullet penetration, but then it turns a bit wonky because then you want offsets in the water as well, because if you shoot into water, the bullet will not go straight through. And the question is just, how deep do you want to go? When does it make sense? When is it fun? And that's kind of the core of everything we do, and that is it fun? So some of the design choices where people say that, could it make it more realistic? And the answer is yes, we could, but we won't, because in some places it's actually better to make it more fun than to make it more real. Real is not always equals fun.
Agreed.
Because then you wouldn't have to play games, right?
Well, there's some game modes some games that are out there. For instance, racing games. I know it's not relevant here to our shooters, but some racing games where it's too extreme, where I'm just I want to drive at an arcade style, but that's besides the fact, okay, we'll get back to Battlefield. But some of the questions also, I mean, we've shown off Levolution there with Siege of Shanghai. Here with Paracel Storm, we're showing off Levolution, showing the shipwreck there into Firebase Island. Are we going to expect seeing Levolution on all maps, including those that are coming in for premium?
Absolutely. The goal for us is not to have like just a few maps having this feature set or this concept applied on it. The goal is to have all maps having the concept of Levolution on them. It's more than the set piece events, as you've seen. It's about all the things that are dynamic on the maps and how they work together. And then you want some unique things that are unique to each map. Like Paracel Storm versus Siege of Shanghai is quite different when it comes to the epic events, but it's very similar when it comes to the small things that happen on the map, where things change as you play. The destructibility, you know, you have stuff like interactive objects that you can interact with, things like that is more encompassing the full game. And then you have these epic events that are more unique to each map.
So with that being said, just talking about, it's just a question that came to my mind because I'm an avid gamer as well, avid Battlefield 3 player.
Yeah.
So Second Assault, whenever that comes out on some of our favorite maps, so we're going to see Levolution on those as well?
Yes, and that's part of the concept, that we want to take the Battlefield 3 fan favorites and then bring them into the new generation of Battlefield 4.
That's great.
Where we actually show people what we can do today that we couldn't do back in the days when Battlefield 3 was out.
It's just it's impressive stuff. So one of the things that I talked with Lars about was, were we going to see Capture the Flag off the initial release? He said it wasn't going to happen right off the initial. No. We will see it later on in the any of the expansion packs that come out. Now the question is, what about the bikes? Are we going to see them at any point?
I'm not really allowed to to spill that right now.
That's okay. It's my job to ask.
Let me say it like this: people won't be disappointed.
That's what I like to hear. Either, I mean, it's of course I know for a fact that no one's going to be disappointed. No. I just know seeing those unique.
But the bikes were great.
Oh, they were amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Having the ability to see some of this new cinematic value, seeing players just jump over or race across the map with the flag. It was just so much fun to watch. There's so many great videos that were created, those only in Battlefield moments. It's just great stuff to see. So let's go ahead. I mean, I probably have a few more questions that I could roll through, but I'm going to go ahead and let the community kind of ask these. I'm looking over at twitter.com, and any one of those with the hashtag BF4. So let's see here. Let me make sure that there's nothing that's any too specific about guns.
Well, in general, we have loads of new guns in the game. We have more guns than ever. We added the Chinese army. They have some really, really cool weapons that people are not too familiar with. So that would spice things up quite a bit.
That's So one of the things is, I have to ask then, because this is a question that's been asked to us numerous times. In this current build right now, is this every single weapon, every single attachment, every single?
I don't think so.
That's what I like to hear.
I don't think so. I haven't counted them, but this is not it. There will be more. And in general, you can see in the game now that it's quite a lot.
It is a lot.
And we wanted to show off like the width and the depth of the game here at Gamescom to show people what it can look like when you've been playing for some time. But of course, when you start the game, you don't want to give everyone everything at the same time. You want to kind of ramp things up as you go. So it can be a bit daunting to go into the game right now to the customization menu, because it's filled with all things. And there's a lot of combinations to do. I can't even imagine how many combinations you can do, because there's so many different weapons, attachments, slots, you have the gadgets, there's so many things you can do. All the camos,
the camos. I had a field day with. There's 6 different categories that I had seen. Let's go ahead and hop into the game while we're going ahead and bantering back and forth. So one of the things, so I asked you what game modes are available there with the commander. We'll see the end of it all. See, I've asked whether or not the Capture the Flag will be in the game. Now, here's those for that are really hardcore gamers out there. So Paracel Storm, we take a look at the overview of the map here. Is there a location for those hardcore gamers that like to play, their pilots in the jet? Is there a place that they can land on this level?
Well, if you're a skilled pilot, you can land anywhere.
That's true. That's a very true. And we've seen.
It depends on how far you want to push that concept. But in general, we've seen people doing some crazy stunts on this map, and you've probably seen that here during Gamescom as well, where people do some crazy landings on top of buildings. They find these small spots in the small forests, and also you can see in this view that there are some spots where it's actually quite easy to land. But then again, it's also easy for people to hide, so it's easy to be taken out by a Stinger or a rocket launcher of any type. And the cool thing, I think, with this map is that it at first sight, it feels flat. You think that you can control it, you think you know what it is, but once you get into it and you start to explore it, you notice that there's a lot of hiding places, there's a lot of stuff to do, and especially when we added the naval warfare, it actually turns the game into something very, very different. And it's actually quite hard to be a pilot on this map, when you have these powerful CB90s. We're in one right now, and they're quite powerful. It's like a tank on water, so it's quite effective. Yeah, he took it up on the shore. That's nice.
Let's go ahead and take a look and see if we can find another one here.
Yeah, that's a CB90. And these are extremely effective, especially when the water is this calm, because now it feels like a tank. It's very easy to control, it's easy to hit your targets with the cannon, and it actually changes quite drastically once the waves starts to increase, when the storms come rolling in. Then you can definitely see that it's way harder to hit your targets. It's still powerful, but you have to kind of stay between the islands where the water is calmer to be powerful. So it kind of changes the way the battle works. And you can also see that it has an extra, if you look in the third person there, you can see that there's a jet ski on the back of the CB90, which is very cool. It's like an escape pod, more or less, where if you have to bail out, you can get into the jet ski and just zoom off into the sunset.
That's it's such a great thing. It's a great concept to even think about, so that you're not just a sitting duck out there in the ocean, which a lot of us in Battlefield 3 that we usually had an issue with is kind of waiting in the water. Well, there's also not only the fact that you have the jet ski to bail out on, but you also have the capability of going ahead and sprint swimming, which I thought was great. You also have the capability of utilizing your pistol. In Obliteration yesterday, I was playing. I had got taken down out of my helicopter, so I bailed out, landed in the ocean right next to a boat that all the players were exposed, and I took out 2 of the gunners with just my pistol. Luckily enough for me, it's Paracel storm, and it was while the storm was going on, so the rolling waves allowed me to hide behind, again, just dynamic water play. And I know it's something crazy to say in Battlefield, but no, it is true. It is it's an effective Battlefield, even in the water.
Yeah, it definitely changes the way you play Battlefield. We haven't really seen this in any other game before, and I can't talk enough about it because I think it's amazing. I love to ride the waves. It's the first time we see it in a multiplayer game because it's quite complicated to create this technology to do this. But also it's just great fun. It just feels natural. I hear someone diving. Oh, he crashed something interesting. So now it's up on the.
This is over here on the E point for shipwreck.
Yeah, the shipwreck is really cool. So in general, we try to kind of build this map and make sure that it's a diverse environment, both for infantry, tight infantry combat, but also for vehicles and a lot of strategic play. And I think that the team has done an amazing job. You can also see in the sky up here that you see 2 UAVs being deployed. And that's probably the commander deploying a UAV, helping the team to get a better view of the battle.
Some of the players that were wondering too, do I have to click deploy, or can I double click on the location? So if it's your squad, or if it's a location, a point that you want to go to, you can just double click right onto the player and hop right in.
Hop right in. That applies both to the spawn screen, but also here when we see the spectator mode.
I love it.
We try to utilize all the PC features as much as possible for the PC, and do the same with the consoles.
Take a look right now and see what we've got so far. So again, this is where you can see that the storm is starting to pick up earlier. I mean, this was just moments ago where this ocean wasn't as it's not calm anymore. Let's just say that. So I mean, look at how big these waves really are. Just showing how much they truly roll and how much of an effect they make into the game. One of the things too is, utilizing a jet ski in these waters is actually great. Now, trying to go over the top of one of these waves, pretty difficult, but utilizing them as trenches, it's so effective.
Yeah, it's when we started to talk about this, we imagined like the tank battles that we've had for some time, when you roll over these dunes and you have these epic tank battles with dunes that you hide in, and you have this hide and seek moment with both tanks and smaller vehicles. And then we started to imagine, what would it be like to have this happening with rolling waves? Oh, it's breaking free. Okay, someone is desperately trying to shoot down the ship. So the ship is broken off now, and it will come barging into the shore. Yes, there will be some surprised people very soon. Actually, we talked to some people about this as well, and there's quite a few after the press event. They actually thought that this was a cutscene, and this only happened as a set-piece cutscene. So they got quite surprised when they saw this happening in real time during the gameplay.
I was talking with Golden Boy before we started the show, and one of the things that I had mentioned to him, Alex, I can't believe that we've gotten to a point where we can get into gaming, just gaming in general, to see worlds like this that look super realistic, and just, again, look at the trees, everything three-dimensional. We're not using sprites anymore. We have to, it's just amazing that we've gotten to this point in gaming. So let's go ahead and answer a couple more questions. So I had answered a quick question about commander mode and having the ability to accept and deny requests using the communication rows. So let's see here. I'm asked this question. I haven't read it yet, so bear with me.
In general, you can just touch upon that. And the goal is to, of course, having the commander help the squads giving orders, and then having squads accepting those orders to send them further down the chain of command. So the goal is to give the right tools to both the commanders and also the squad leaders to do well. And the more you play as a team, the more rewards you should get. And of course, that will not prevent you from being a great lone wolf, but it will help you and your team to win the match.
So one of the questions here says, rumor has it that grenades and RPG wasn't resupplyable by support ammo bags anymore, and only through supply drops. True or false?
That sounds like a false rumor.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Someone back home has done a very drastic recent change that they haven't told me about. But I would be surprised if you could not resupply through the normal ammo bags and only through the supply drops. That would be very surprising news to me. I think it's important for people to understand that we're not done with the game. This is still alpha software that we're looking at. So we are actually using Gamescom and all the events to actually get feedback on things and see if we can, before we ship the game, make it even better. So we're still, on the fence on some things, while other things are completely locked since, months ago. So in general, we are very open to suggestions still. We're very open to doing last-minute fixes if it's fixable at all, or if it's actually a problem. In some cases, a small thing might unbalance the entire game. So we are very cautious about doing changes that will affect the game too much, because the most important thing is actually to have a game that is well balanced. Wow, he crashed his helicopter and died in the flames. So to us it's very, very important that people understand that it's not about the individual players always. Sometimes it's actually about how the game works as a whole. Here we can see someone putting camo on his gun. This is some kind of leopard pattern. I can't really see what it is. But this is also a very cool thing that you can personalize your guns much more, not only from a visual perspective, but more importantly, so it fits your playstyle. So both barrels, grips, scopes is very, very important. And of course you have the canted sights as well.
It's one of my favorite things, especially since I'm usually a recon class. I take advantage of the rifle scope, and then also have the ability to go to a canted. So there's a lot of different things. There's a nice little melee attack there that happened. He didn't get countered. I think that's one of the things that you're still fine-tuning, is really determining how you would counterattack someone as well, because you don't want to have the capability of spamming the key that you need, so the F key in this case by default, or being able to time it the right. I mean, some gamers have such quick reflexes. You still want the capability, but
and it's also about you only have the ability to counter if someone comes right at you face to face. If you come behind a player, they will not be able to counter your attack. So we want to also push people to actually do proper stealth attacks to get that guaranteed knife kill. So it's a bit of a gamble when you just pull a knife on someone face to face.
So I have a quick question. It says, is there a way to play with play Conquest without a commander, or is it mandatory?
It is not mandatory. Like a lot of things in the game, we don't want to force things onto the players. We want to give players opportunity to use the features that we have in the game. So commander can be turned off. You have server settings to do that, but we think most players will actually have commander being on because they will see the benefits of having a commander. But if you don't like it, they just turn it off.
Yeah, so again, just kind of talking about all the different things that you can do. I still think, so there's one of the things that we're seeing on the weapon as well. We're seeing that Russian emblem. Is that going to be something that is going to be customizable, that I can create my own tag, my squad, my platoons?
Yes.
Logo.
Yeah. You have a what we call an emblem that you can put. You have a personal emblem, so you design it much like you design the platoon emblems in Battlefield 3, and then that gets attached to not only your gun but also to vehicles. So when you jump into a vehicle, you can make it look very personal by having an emblem that you create yourself, but also then pick your own camo. So vehicles will actually look and feel quite different and very personal this time around.
So, quick question, is the gunship still have the capability of being a paradrop as well?
Yes, right now, yes.
And then we'll go and ask a quick rule as well. There's been a lot of questions about having the capability of customizing your HUD, what you see on the screen. For those that are not huge hardcore gamers, the HUD is basically everything that you see on your screen, the mini-map, your ammo, all all those different types of things. Are we going to have the ability to hide and show different items?
Yes, there will be some customizable elements, of course. Not all of it. It won't be super detailed, but there will be some elements that you customize. I think the biggest thing that we've done is that you can actually scale the size of the HUD. So in BF3, I think we only had one size, and I think that was a bit too big, to be honest. Most PC players want to minimize the screen space it takes up. So instead of having elements removed, we actually scale it so it just gets smaller. So you can make it very, very tight and very small and very peripheral compared to the HUD you had in BF3.
All right, so I don't know how to ask this question. I don't have the full details, but I'm going to ask it. If we don't know, then we'll move on. There's been mention on Reddit numerous times as well about classic mode, having the ability to... again, I don't have all the full details. I apologize for even trying to ask it, but you can, again, from Reddit, I'm making an attempt there.
We will still have the hardcore mode that we had in BF3, which is more or less a multiplier that makes the game a bit more snappy and visceral. It's, you die faster, it's easier to take people down. It just increases the speed of the game in general, and it makes the game quite hard for everyone. But some people love to play in that mode where it's a bit more instant, so to speak.
I found myself hopping into a hardcore game or two. So my last question to you is about voice over IP, communicating with your teammates. Are we going to see that in game?
Yes, absolutely. We've been spending a lot of time trying to get that right. So we have a big push on making that work, and it will be in for launch.
So there's a little different. I'm going to ask you some really kind of critical things about that. So is it all of my teammates can hear it, or is it within my squad?
The focus is within the squad, rather than focus on the team, because the problem we're seeing is that if we have 64 players of where 32 is in the same team, and you have one yappy guy,
that yappy guy,
talking to everyone at the same time, they will just turn the feature off. So we wanted to focus on the squad and the communication between the squad and the commander. So there will be ways of voice communicating in those layers.
All right, so last sub-question of my last question. So can my opponent hear me in a distance? So if I'm making a call saying I see two just around the corner, will they be able to hear my voice over?
No.
Okay. just trying to get all the questions out there that I can think of about any type of communication. Thanks for dodging all the bullets here. I appreciate it. We're hopping on. Do you have any last things that you want to say?
No, I'm very happy of being here at Gamescom. I think it's we had a great show. We have, I think, more than 150 machines here, showing all types of game modes and showing off Paracel Storm. The team back home made a amazing effort to get things to where it is. We still have work to do when we get back home. So please give us feedback on everything, and we will make sure to deliver the best game we ever delivered.
Patrick Bach, I appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on here with me. And those of you, you got to thank Patrick for answering a lot of our questions here in the community. Again, send out to your social media, also on Twitch chat, even on Reddit, Twitter, what have you. We're answering all questions that we can think of. We're looking into the games ourselves. So stick around. We still have so much more to come here at Gamescom 2013. Patrick Bach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back after the break.